saying is someone's still gonna win, and it might be if just
I know.
half the field, just about half the field is playing badly, with golf, you can easily say, oh, the course must be hard. They're all playing bad. You know what I mean? It all kind of comes back to earth a little bit.
Sergio has been like, I can't wait to leave this place. Rah, 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 rah.
Yeah. And happy Tuesday. Welcome in Divots and Pivots, episode 37, as we make our way through the PGA off-season, which is also now kind of coinciding with the last couple tournaments of the Live Tour, the inaugural Live Tour. So we'll get into that a little bit later as well. But as always, welcome in Tuesday night here on the Divots and Pivots show. And Bud Copeland joining me from a different background, from the road. The dedication is real. We love it. Bud, how are you?
Careful what you wish for. I've got so much upstairs to go with, and Lord help us if I just let it all go. No, I'm in Tallahassee, Florida, baby. Back in the Redneck Riviera, visiting my old man. Went out and shot a quasi decent round today. I shot 77 on the home track. It's a tough course. Golden Needle's not easy. Something I wanted to ask you earlier, and I forgot to. You said we got 5 seconds, and I was like, yeah, just go live. It's not that I'm not. That wasn't going to preclude me from saying what I wanted to say. It's like, oh, fuck it. We'll just
it never does.
No, of course not. I love our intro. I have one request. Can we find a clip of you that doesn't have me wiping my nose on a T-shirt? Because
oh my god, I've honestly never noticed it.
Well, of course, because you're looking at your beautiful face and the comments that you were making, which are relevant. If you watch it, I'm like slouched down, and I remember because it was the week we were going to Live, and I'm like, what the frack am I doing there? I had like a T-shirt that I was using because I got sick for about 3 days. That just made me laugh seeing that. No, man, things are great.
Then yes, I will find a different clip of you or of myself, I should say.
Let's be honest.
That paints you in a better light. Yes,
exactly.
Yes, that's exactly how it sounds, people.
Thank you. If we can find some better clips of you that make me look good, then we're all going to be okay. No, it's been great down here. If you checked out, if you saw the story this morning or the post, public sub, dude. I don't think it's ever too early to pivot from golf. We'll get into golf. We'll get into the PGA Tour. We'll get into the DP World Tour. We'll get into Live a little bit. But really, we got to go with the number one issue on everybody's mind, which is the best sub sandwich that you've ever had in your life. And for me,
the wrong person to talk to about that.
Dude, do you not eat subs?
No.
And hold on. For everybody listening, my right eyebrow is raised. And I don't understand. What do you mean you don't eat subs? If I handed you, what is your favorite sandwich?
Okay, so I don't eat a lot of sandwiches because for the majority of my life
because you're a communist.
No. It's not because I'm a communist. For the majority of my life up until maybe 3-4 years ago, I didn't eat meat at all.
Because you're about to say something that's gonna make me feel like an asshole.
Because of anxiety and mental thing, whatever. But I've been growing on, but I haven't really had a vast experience with subs and sandwiches throughout my life. So I am not a good person to answer that question.
You're the best person to answer this question because I'm going to encourage you. I'm going to implore you. Divots and Pivots is going to be on the road full time soon. You watch, and when we get south of the Mason-Dixon line, you're going to find Publix, and Publix is.
Well, I'm no Publix.
I don't like when people say, "Oh, it's the Kroger or it's the Stop and Shop."
Remember, I work in the grocery industry as a store planner, so I'm familiar with Publix.
Tell me about your familiarity with Publix then. Like and I'm not. This isn't challenging you. It was like, shit, I did forget that your future former 9-to-5 is in that industry. So talk to me a little bit.
What I know about Publix is that it's a very affordable and kind of go-to place. Like it's not your Whole Foods. It's not anything that's like over the top. That it's kind of your, when it comes to the South, it's not as and I don't want to shit on Market Basket here. It's not as low as a Market Basket, you know what I mean? But it's like it's in that nice middle ground.
You got all right, let's see here. You got the shittiest of the shitty cars, and then you've got something that's like a nice little Honda Civic, not even the limited edition like Honda Civic, and there you go, there's your Market Basket. And then you've got like a nice SUV, like a 4Runner, or maybe a Lexus, depending on what neighborhood you're in. That's like your Publix, and then you've got your Porsches and everything that's like Whole Foods and whatnot. And that's just price point. I will say, Publix, and it's because of the sub. Everybody's got milk, everybody's got cereal, everybody's got deli, everybody's got bakeries, everybody's got this. If you don't have a sub that can touch this, I don't know what to tell you, man. But the ultimate sub from Publix, there's something different they do. So what I'm circling back around to is, when we do pop your cherry, it's going to be at a Publix with an ultimate sub right in your mouth. So
so what's the ultimate sub? Tell us what's in it then.
Ham turkey. It's basically like an Italian BMT. Add whatever white sliced meat you didn't get in there, and then everything in the world, all the toppings, and then this like secret sub sauce that I think they might have actually started doing, which is really just oil and vinegar.
So it's what it sounds like is that it's a nap rolled up in a piece of bread.
It's a nap delicately placed on a sliced hoagie roll that has been loving. What are you drinking wine out of the bottle?
You act like this is the first time on this show that I have done this.
Out of the bottle, yes. So what? All right, real quick pause. What's on the pod juice? What do you have for your pod juice tonight?
So right now, I had a gift certificate a little while back ago to one of those wine subscriptions. So I got a nice 12-pack of red wine. So this is called Anna. It's from Portugal, from 2020. It's a red blend.
How many N's are in there?
What was that?
How many N's are in the name?
One N. So I think it's Anna. Right?
Now I'm really confused. I was going to go the opposite direction, but if somebody could comment, is it Anna or Anna, and is the number of N's definitive on that? I'm going with some straight up Maker's Mark.
Nice.
On the road, got to be efficient.
Have you ever seen the Whiskey Tribe on YouTube?
Yeah,
I've seen those guys.
I've not.
Those
seen
guys
them
are fantastic.
like
every now and then and today was one of the days, but every now and then I have a day where I just like, as I work, I just have their videos kind of playing in the background and whatnot, because they're just entertaining and good. And they were doing Maker's Mark made an appearance as one of their try to be one of their they did like a 4 sample of like the different price points of like a $2,500 bottle, a $160 $100 like a $60 bottle, and then a $30 bottle. Obviously Maker's Mark was a $30. And Maker's Mark was like consistently top 2 out of the 4. So, I mean, that's all I gotta say about Maker's Mark, I guess.
No, I'm not like a brand loyalist or anything.
No.
I needed something comforting. I didn't want to go out on a limb and take a chance on something I didn't know. So I got some Makers. It felt good. All right. Speaking of going out on a limb and taking a chance on something you didn't know, I blindly ordered my Mahler Brothers t-shirts without seeing yours first. And I sent my buddy one in Tennessee. Could not be happier. Not be happier. As with any product, is that they knocked it out of the park. They nailed it. We have some updated instructions or requests, just like anything, revision 2. But revision 1's good. Yeah, revision 1 is great. Revision 1 is a gamer. It's go time. It's out there.
It's the original.
Damn it! And then somebody's gonna be saying, "Why aren't you wearing your shirts then?" Well, because mine's in the laundry. I don't know if you heard. I don't know if you heard. Bud's on the road this week.
And I have a massive pile of clothes on my bed right now where they all are. So I apologize.
Yeah, my excuse is a little better. No, but the second ball All-American shirts are real. They're out. They're there. Thank you to Mahler Brothers for believing in us and taking a chance. Piper Golf, you did me right. You came down to Florida today. Piper Gold delivered a 77 at Golden Eagle from the tips. I'll be out there again tomorrow, and we'll see if we can't do any better. But Piper Gold, Mahler Brothers, and when you visit, do it one of 2 ways: either directly through the link in our bios, which that's the only way. And so I guess part 2 would be Div Piv. Save some money, Div Piv. Give them a shout. Let them know we sent you, and then thank you again to Fantasy National Golf Club. It's funny you said off season, quote unquote, and the irony is,
technically the season's already started.
I was gonna say we're not in the off season, we're in the next season, but that's a perfect, not misconception. That was a perfect subconscious Freudian slip, because that's what Liv was banking on, right? Everybody just being, oh, it's the off season. Not me, not this kid. I mean, I am paying attention, but Mackenzie Hughes outlasting Sepp Straka at the Sanderson Farms. I told you not to sleep on the Sanderson Farms. If you slept on the Sanderson Farms, I apologize. for you.
It was
and everybody
entertaining.
else.
I tuned in. I was in a bar one day. I caught it another day. Like I caught bits and pieces almost all 4 days. And
Yeah.
it was entertaining for an early season golf tournament.
It's kind of like week 3 of the NFL. If your
Yeah,
team's not in it, you're not going to sit for the whole game, but you'll watch the last 3 minutes if it's a fight,
sure,
And
sure, sure,
that's what we got. The real kind of subtext or the story within the story is Mac Hughes, Mackenzie Hughes, Canadian guy, passed over for President's Cup. I say passed over. He didn't get selected.
I was gonna say he just wasn't selected.
Right. I if I'm a pro golfer and I'm not selected, then I was passed over. I
Sure.
was overlooked. I'm pissed off. I need the chip on my shoulder. As journalists, lowercase j, we just look at that as they weren't passed over. They weren't selected. And what I love, though, is then he turns around, he comes out and he wins on the PGA Tour. And anybody who's pissing on the Sanderson Farms or saying, oh, it wasn't one of the big ones, or what was the last score in golf you shot, if ever? And B, was there $1 million on the line? It goes back to what I've been preaching the whole time. No matter what, when you get to this level, when you get to the level of golf that they are, I mean, these people who think that the live defectors are going to drain the PGA Tour. I told you I was at a dinner party over the weekend, and I was wearing my live golf shirt.
Yep.
And it was funny, and because I was a fanboy. I got a dope gray shirt with the schedule on the back. Woo!
Yeah.
Mostly because if this thing dies,
It was like a band tour.
Yes, exactly. If the band breaks up in 2 years, I was there, man.
Yes.
So I'm wearing the shirt. The person just looks at me and goes, "So I have to ask you, do you believe in this new tour?" And I said, "What? I mean, what do you mean? Do I believe in it?" I was like, "It's real. Like it's not like Santa Claus. No offense, kids." That should have come with a trigger warning. But she was like,
we're gonna have to make this not friendly for kids when I post it on YouTube.
If you're bringing your kids to the Divots and Pivots show. No, so do you believe in it? And that struck me as the way she was asking it. Do you believe in it? And then it hit me like a ton of bricks. This person doesn't golf. They don't know anything about golf. I know them from being around them a little bit, and they love controversy. They're the kind of person who loves to talk politics if politics isn't part of the conversation. Not because they're a true believer, but they like to stir the pot and make people feel uncomfortable.
Sure.
And anyway, so do I believe in live golf? And I had to ask her, reframe the question. What do you mean, do you believe? And she said, do you think it's going to be the downfall of the PGA Tour? I laughed so hard I had to apologize. And then I went back to, the reason I'm laughing is because your first question and your follow-up just show that the next 10 minutes of my life, I should just check out because you're not going to know or whatever. But instead, I dug deeper. Bud's got the high road, been here for a while. You know what it's like up here. It's tough. And instead I took a deep breath and I said, are they the downfall of the No, I just said flat out, no, absolutely not. They're not going to be the downfall of the PGA Tour. Yeah. They're an exhibition tour. And the funny thing is where I think Liv thought they were going to have exclusivity with only 48 or 60 golfers, however many they're going to sign.
Yeah.
You pointed it out a few weeks ago on the show is what happens when half the field shits the bed. In the regular tour, 150 guys out there, if 50 of them shoot 80, have a nice week. See you next time. There's still 100 golfers here pining for 70 spots.
Exactly.
In Liv, so I like what you brought up there because that reinforced with me and my friend at the dinner party, who she is a very sweet lady and I love her dearly. But it was the whole well, no, it's not going to be the downfall. It's an exhibition tour. Sorry, Pat Perez, $4.7 million, an exhibition tour. That's what it is. And it's going to be an exhibition tour until one of a couple things happen. Either A, world golf ranking points come flowing in, and they will not because they're not playing 72 holes, period. Full
Correct.
stop.
It's technically just a different format. It's a different format.
It's a different product. It's a different product, period. You can't say I want that, but we're doing this. Again, not that they
guys in the 3-on-3 league in Vegas don't get to be nominated for MVP of the NBA.
I like my analogies. But no, that's a perfectly good point. And I don't mind if they get points. They just can't get the same amount or even remotely close to the same amount when you're playing 75%. And I don't even think 75% of what they get on tour. You also have to factor in, like we said, the weekend field. And I'm going to say weekend because when you're at this level, law of large numbers, 150 professional PGA Tour caliber golfers. Dustin Johnson's going to have some off weeks. Justin Thomas is going to have some off weeks.
Sure.
Everybody's going to have some off weeks. So if you put only 48 of the top 48 in, they're going to have some off weeks too. But now it's just watered down because now you can say no cut. So-and-so shot 87, and they're going to get to take home $750,000. Now, even if they
Yeah.
remove the guaranteed money next year, which I don't think they will, because that's part of their shtick.
They won't yet, at least.
Yeah,
Eventually they will,
they're
but
not
not yet.
set up. They're not set up for failure, but they're not set up for success as a competitor for the tour. And
Yeah.
I think the next year is going to show that, because okay, new kid at the party. We're done. We all know they're here. Great, cool. Can we move on with the party now? Because that's what
Yeah.
it is. I don't feel bad for Cam Smith. I don't feel bad for Dustin. Nobody feels bad for Dustin Johnson. But he also doesn't feel bad for Dustin Johnson. He was one of the first people to say, I'm going to renounce my tour membership because I'm going to go do this thing. What the granular is the number of people who are still signed on to this lawsuit. This antitrust lawsuit that is supposed to go to trial in 2024 is down to like 3 players.
Yeah, they're all
Bryson,
bowing out.
Bryson, Matt Jones, and somebody else, which to me, because everybody knows what experts we are. No, what just from the armchair quarterback read on that is either like your lawyers have finally told you don't have a case.
Yeah, and that was my initial reaction, was that the PGA obviously has put forward some of their case to the Live Golf players' lawyers, and they just said, nah, okay, let's not do this.
and some of the earlier rulings, whether it was this case or other ones, where the judges have kind of one judge particularly, the one that did not grant a stay leading into the FedEx Cups, the FedEx Cup, he pointed out, you have not been irreparably harmed by this. You're actually getting duly compensated, and the rules and everything was laid out before you. So you can't say that you were hoodwinked. And now, if you weren't being paid any money, even then you chose. Nobody forced you to do this. So, and I think that's why I love that Phil Mickelson, when he pulled out, oh, my name's not needed here. Your name was not needed in the first place, you jackass.
Yeah.
Everything you had to say had merit. And you went about it with the touch of a blacksmith.
Yes.
And you can do that when you've got FU money like he does.
Well, and that's the thing. It's really hard. It's really hard to claim, like you said, irreparable harm when you're also walking around toting, I'm getting paid more than I ever have in my life playing golf.
Let me get this straight. You just quit a job where if you don't finish in the top 70 after 2 days, then you get $0 for a job where there's no cut and you get automatic money.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, come on now.
Yeah, I was just gonna reiterate the point. Like, you can't tout something as being exciting and awesome for you, and then turn around and try to claim it as you've been wronged. Like, you got to pick a side, and that's all. That's been kind of my point this whole, or at least my stance this whole time, has been just pick a side. You gotta, at some point, you gotta realize that you're not going to be able to do both. Until they align as far as format rules, whatever, you're not going to be able to do both. Or, like you said, maybe some math whiz does come up with some sort of formula to where they adjust the world golf rankings for live events to where it does take off some sort of percentage, and it works out to where they still get golf, world ranking points. It's just not at the same rate, and that's something that if they want their cake and eat it too, they're gonna have to live with that. If they start bitching about that, then I'm sorry, then you want everything, you want the world, and you're not gonna get it.
And so a little shout out to Hardy. When I say a good product, I mean an entertaining product. And I'm glad we had that chat, because when he was like, it's not a good product, and I thought to myself, we're defining the word differently. You're right. It's not profitable. It's not long. It's entertaining, and that's two different entities. As an entertaining piece of golf, whatever.
Yes.
It's there and it's going to succeed. Even if they get these modified world golf ranking points, they're going to be so minimal that you do the math and you're like, shit, 14 events, this many points. I can't make enough to go in the top 50. You go knocking onto the PGA Tour door, the DP World Tour door, and once you get the world golf ranking points in your own tour, pound sand. You're not coming back. And I do believe that Jay Moynihan's going to hold the line, because he's going to do the math and go.
He's already made it clear. Just last week, he reiterated the point that there's no incentive for us to come to the table and coexist. Now both tours have said it. It's done. Like, it's squashed.
And what I said at the very beginning is going to hold true, which is the majors have said nothing, and they're not going to need to say anything now, because status quo is all we need, right? Status quo, because to their credit, they could say, no, it's fine. You're a past champion. You can keep coming. Bubba's little thing about, if the Masters doesn't let me come as a past champion, then I don't want to be there. I agree. If they decide to uninvite you, then you don't want to be there. That's fine. But
so every dream you had as a golfer growing up, go give your green jacket back. Let's be real. Like,
keep it. Keep the green jacket. Keep it all, and
but that's
cry.
like what.
And
But that's
cry
the
at
point.
home.
But that's what you get to. Like, to what point? What are you selling here? Like, what are you willing to give
agree.
up? Like,
I
as a
agree with
golfer,
him.
your
I agree
entire
with him.
life.
I agree with him that if Augusta bans former champions, then
Sure.
I would agree with him. Like, well, go screw yourself. But it's the other players who are saying we won't be able to get in. It's like, well, no, you're right, and you made your own bed. Bubba made these decisions, and the Masters never said if you do this, there will be these consequences. So I do agree in that sense of,
Hmm.
listen, I've done nothing wrong. Is blah blah blah. Like I agree with that. I think he's okay to say if they don't let me come because I'm because of this, then fuck him. Which that's his prerogative to say. I don't feel
Yeah.
bad for him. He knew risks that he was taking,
Yeah.
especially after other people already had, and then he was a latecomer. Like, come on. That's the only problem I have with all of this is stop looking for sympathy. I
Yeah.
in we have kids, we have lives, we have future careers and former careers to worry about. We got bills, and I have a limited amount of time in my life to be entertained by you hitting a golf ball. I don't give a rat's ass if you're only 10% as rich as you were before. You're still 500 times as rich as I'll ever be. So be a little human. If you want those emotions from your fan base, meet them where they are. Don't ask them to come
Yes.
all the way up to your ivory tower, kiss your ass, and say, man, must be tough to be you. That's my
Well,
song and dance on the live guys who are making a stink. There's a ton of them
exactly.
like,
The ones that are vocal and out there, like, and that's where they have become unrelatable. If golf to me is all I've said so many times in the show, golf to me has always been one of the most relatable sports. And that's where they've taken it and made it not relatable because yeah, they've said, oh, we're gonna piss and moan now about because we weren't paid enough to fall the fact that we were chasing our dream and achieving it before. We're gonna piss and moan in the media and now and demand more. Fine, we all have that right in our job place to do that,
sure.
but you don't need to make it like this whole big public like affair. Like like it's just you like you said though, you got to remember who you're talking to. If you're trying to get the fan base over, don't piss and moan about, oh, I was only making 20 million last year. Now I'm making 40. Now I'm getting what I deserve. Really? I think you were
Yeah.
probably getting what you deserved before.
You want to in ready divots and pivots is going to toe that political line for a second because a lot of this is coming the perspective of workers' rights, which workers do have rights. There is balance, there's karmic balance in the entire world, but balance requires two sides. So just as much as the workers have rights, so does the organization, so does the
Yes.
company, so does the entity, and so and that's the point here is you people who are meant to live. I say you people, like these are humans with families and they're nice guys. I'm talking about. I'm
Exactly.
talking. Yeah, and I'm not even talking about like the people who are making a public stink. I mean, they're all nice humans. This is an objective kind of look at the sport where what do you expect from people? Like you, again, I said, don't touch that. I said, don't touch that. You're going to get shocked. If my 2-year-old goes and touches it and gets shocked and goes, ah, I'm not hugging her. I'm going, what did we learn? What did we learn?
Exactly.
Actually, let's be honest. I'm
Well, you're
soft.
hugging
Yeah,
her, but that's besides
she
the
owns
point.
me.
You were still having the conversation with her, saying, "Daddy told you."
Right.
Listen to
Yeah.
Daddy
And
next time.
are we going to start calling Jay Monahan Daddy? No, I think we know. I think we know who Daddy is in the PGA Tour. That was a great quote from Rory after the all hands on deck meeting at the BGA. What's going
The
on over here?
BJ.
The BMW. When Cam Smith was conveniently not present, and Rory came out and said, when we all get into a room, we know who there's an alpha, and it's not me. Let's just say that because there's somebody saying,
Yeah.
"Is Tiger running this?" I still think that Tiger is the shadow commissioner, and when I say
It
shadow,
feels that
that's
way.
with air quotes. I would say co because I don't think Jay Moynihan deserves any kind of. This is from me. At me if you want. I don't think he deserves any kind of reprimand or anything. He's actually played this pretty good, especially being in the position of quote unquote the man or on top, where when you are the decision maker, life lesson for folks. You don't get ahead by being a yes man. You get ahead by knowing when to say no. And that's the point
Yes.
is knowing when to say absolutely not. That's not going to fly. No matter how adult we get, when you get people together in a room, somebody has to be in charge and somebody has to have that perspective. And yeah, I'm glad that he was the one. Now, I think that this is going to be set up for not a new structure, but Tiger's going to have this unofficial official role of, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
there's an official player committee, there's an official this, and then there's Tiger, right? Like He's just the pulse. The old joke of he doesn't move the needle, he is the needle. It's not even a joke. I
Yeah,
mean,
no, it's true.
the Saudis. I guarantee F&T you, if he said instead of whenever they approached him, if they said 800 million, that's not going to work. Put a B on it, and I'll do it. They would have put a B on it. They've got the money.
And you know what would have happened? You know what would have happened? Every single event they had, double the fan experience, double the amount of people at the event, double the amount of viewers. It would have doubled minimum because, like you said, he's the needle in the golf world.
Instant product, instantly,
instant,
and he's unique in that. I think Phil thought that he could be that big of it. Phil, love you, buddy. I really do love Phil. I think he's great.
Phil is even more polarizing because of his escapades over the years off the golf course, and most of them still on the golf course, but off the professional golf course.
Like how Phil or MJ, who has gone into a bigger hole in their betting career? Not cumulative, but at what point? Not at what point? Which one of them has had a lower low in gambling? Do you think? Michael Jordan.
That's a fantastic question because I've never thought of that before.
I didn't until just now because I was trying to think. Like Pete Rose isn't a good example because it's not like he was. I don't know how much money. It's the circumstances for him.
Exactly.
But like Phil and MJ are wildly known for just. So I'd be curious to know.
I know. I'd be curious to know too. My instinct is that it's Phil barely. But it wouldn't shock me if it was MJ. It would not shock me.
No, I think it was probably Phil exactly as well. I think mostly because
I think MJ got into some tougher crowds with his betting.
MJ was MJ was, and I don't know where their gambling was, but from what I understand, MJ was just big into literally like poker, betting on anything.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It was more like random bets. Like Phil is like pretty much it's random bets, but it's random golf bets.
If anybody knows, well, apparently Michael Jordan will try to strong arm anybody, and he'll be like, "You want to go 1,000,000 a hole? You want to go 1,000 holes?"
Well, true. Yeah, that's true. He would make some golf bets too. That's a fair point.
Which I would just laugh at him and be like, I mean, I can't pay that, so why would I even say yes?
Exactly.
How about this, Mr. Jordan? I'll give you the strokes you want, no money.
Exactly.
No money. I don't know if he could do it. And to me, it's one of those things where it's like,
here it is. There's the challenge right there. Michael Jordan, if you are watching this,
if you're listening,
we will tag you in this if you are watching. Bud Copeland
I'll come down
challenges
to the
you.
I'll come down to the Grove. I'll give you 3 on the front, 4 on the front, 3 on the back. I'll give you 7 because apparently he's an 8. But it's even his place, so I should be saying 6, or I should, and if I talk to him some more, he'd probably say 9. Jedi mind trick me or some shit. No, but that's the thing is, I wonder if it's kind of like, can he even play golf without having money on the line?
He'll be like, give me an extra stroke and I'll give you an autographed hat, or give me 2 extra strokes, I'll autograph a jersey. Like he'll be trying to wager more strokes by offering stuff up to you.
Well, because that's part of his leverage. That's the mind game. And at that point, you're not playing golf, you're playing chess.
Exactly.
And you can't fuck with Bobby Fischer. He knows what he's doing.
Yes. Hey, real fast, just in case Beth is still watching. Hey, Beth, good luck on your fantasy hockey draft tonight. If you don't know who Beth is, Beth in the Belly Up World is one of our premier hockey writers. She's an editor for Belly Up, and look, she's just a great hockey and general personality that stops in on all the shows. So, Beth, thank you for stopping by. If you're still watching, good luck. Go get them and kick ass. And then I'll also, Jason from TSS Fantasy, they're going live here in a half hour, 9 o'clock. You can catch them at YouTube, TSS Fantasy. Their show's awesome. You'll actually be able to catch me there as well. I have a little segment there called Sophistication Station that you can find out my waiver pickups for the week as well. So go check that out at 9 o'clock as well. Just wanted to shout out some people in the chat before we got too far. And look, also real fast, you brought up Marla Brothers and you brought up our shirts earlier. You don't even know this yet because I've been talking because I got a request.
No.
The color purple is coming to the lineup. It should be out any minute, any day now. It was hopefully going to be out today. I don't see it up yet. But a purple shirt will also be available in the Second Ball All-American Divots and Pivots merchandise shirt. So check that out when it's available.
Second Ball All-American. You are one, I am one. And yes. I'm glad you brought up Beth because I actually had a question for you, a follow-up. Let's put a tidy little bow on this. I'm going to say Phil probably is the more degenerate gambler in sheer volume because I think he probably, he came.
Yes.
That said, Michael Jordan, okay, there are the four most profitable athletes or net, of all time. Michael Jordan's number one. And then after
Mhm.
that, you got Jack, Arnie, and Tiger. So I have, when it comes to the dollar, Michael probably did, but I could see Phil just, thing is, I could see Phil being out there and saying, oh, let's put a mill on it or let's put a this on it in some fucking football game. Like, I think he got in trouble sports betting, not golf betting, because
Yes.
golf betting to him is nothing. 50 grand in Nassau, okay, like that, those guys play for that. I bet it was
Yeah.
sports betting because degenerate gamblers, and this is coming from degenerate gamblers, it's all about control, right? That's the point. You're control freaks. You want to know that those decisions you're making are verified and justified. On the golf course, it's too logical. If he loses a bet on the golf course, he can immediately point to something in himself that he did. And so he goes to
Exactly.
control. I'm good. Move on. You lose a sports bet. I don't get it. They had the. I was right there. Okay. I'm gonna make it up on this one. I'm gonna make it up on this one, right? Like I think there's a
See, and I
different
feel like
mentality.
MJ was probably getting on the plane after a game and betting his teammates,
Poker.
ten,
He just
10,
poke
10 oh,
blackjack.
so that yes, but I also think he was probably doing stupid shit like betting his teammates 10 grand when I trip this flight attendant, she's gonna tell me to fuck off or tell me to go get bet. Like I bet you he was just betting on stupid, random, like you wouldn't even think about it.
Speaking of, you gotta love it when you watch these videos of golfers who or golf fans who bet on which golfer is going to cross the tee markers first. Have you ever seen these videos?
I haven't
You want
seen
to
those,
talk?
but that sounds awesome.
Oh my God! We if we weren't so focused on the second hole at Live, that's a fun prop bet game to sit there and do. Is after the tee
Yeah,
shots are hit, you pick a marker, whether it's the red markers, white markers, something up there in front of wherever they're hitting from, and just
sure.
put money on which player is going to cross it first. Oh, I mean, there's so many layers you can get in there. So, anyways,
I love it.
yes,
I love it.
degenerate gambling was probably the crux or the impetus for Live. We haven't confirmed that, but we're going to run with that theory anyway. And yes, Mackenzie Hughes did a lot of
He
good
did win.
things.
Yeah.
Did a lot of good things. A lot of good things. No, he
He won.
more than that. Like I said, he showed spine. He showed grit. He got
Yep.
passed over for the international team. He'll be back. Um, and he won. So I mean, shout out to him. Canada's going crazy. They haven't had real big reasons to be excited since Mike Weir left, or he didn't leave. He was out there. He was an international captain this time. Or what I
Yeah.
was going to come back to, which is how the hell does fantasy hockey work? Since we're
I
talking
I
about
try
Canadians and Beth's too
I
strong.
tried it one year. Look, I love hockey. I love watching the Bruins up here in New England. Do I know enough of the players across the league to play fantasy hockey? No. And I tried it. Like a group of my friends were like, look, let's just do a free league. Let's figure out how it works together and kind of see if this is something we want to do in the future, kind of thing. And I think all of us checked out after it's I don't know. It was a
Well,
lot of
I'm
work.
thinking about the scoring and like how exciting can it be? You either like if you got a goalie on your roster, and so if they get a shutout, great. And then I guess like every
Sure.
goal they probably chip away. And then you
So
score
it's
a point,
similar.
you're
It's
like
similar
points,
to
right?
like
Points.
similar to like soccer, like daily fantasy, where it's like
There's
you
daily
get
fantasy
go.
soccer.
Oh yeah. Oh, you never
God, I
played
got
it?
to I
It's
got to I got to get out of
fantastic.
my golf bubble.
Oh yeah, when the World Cup starts in November, you got to get in on some DFS soccer because it's gonna be fantastic.
You know what I did hear about fantasy soccer on the Dan Patrick show? One of their producers was talking about a buddy of his who he watches all the soccer games.
Yep.
Anytime a soccer match gets under 10 minutes to go, if it's tied, he puts like a $10 bet on the tie.
It's amazing.
And
It's so
and
much
like
fun.
apparently he's up like 20% over the last 4 years doing that. Just if he sees it, $5 or $10 on the tie,
Yep.
because odds are it's gonna hold.
It's a lot of fun. Look,
Not a big payout, but
underrated daily fantasy and betting is tennis and soccer. It's a ton of fun. It's a great sweat.
fun fact. I actually played tennis from when I was 4 until I was about 13 or 14 before I picked up golf. What
Nice.
do you like fantasy tennis? Like, what are they tracking in fantasy
There was
tennis?
Oh, so you get points for aces, you get points for
Games
obviously
won,
for games won and
breaks.
breaks. Yep, you get points for all that stuff.
Oh,
Sets won, and obviously the match you get a match bonus for winning the match like that. Yeah, it's a good time.
so
It was
kind of
like
like in a
it was
kind of
like
like in a
three it was like 3 years ago. I was playing every
really,
day.
We should pick that up next year as a side bet because I know you don't want to go
Yeah.
head to head with me in fantasy golf again. I'm joking. I can't wait for January for the new season.
Dunzo.
It's gonna be our first full season of
Mm-hmm.
fantasy golf together, and I can't wait for it. But with fantasy tennis, man, like it's kind of like in football where if you see your games going to overtime and you've got the quarterback or a running back in play, it's like hell. By the way,
Well,
how
what's
do you feel
nice
about
is that
that?
what's nice is that so you pick across the entire tournament like 6
Okay,
tennis players,
sure.
but you got to think of it as because you get win bonuses, you think of it as 1v1 multiple 1-versus-1 matchups like it
Yeah,
actually is in tennis. So
yeah.
you want to try to it's like betting on UFC. You want to pick the winners to have in your lineup. Or if you're not going to pick a winner, you want someone who's going to go down to a decision and like just score a bunch of points to get your value kind of thing. But
I want.
if you sit there and kind of find stats to analyze and try to make a model to predict each individual matchup, you're in the world of tennis, you will find an upset that it'll save you money playing DFS tennis, and you will be able to get the best top players in your lineup every time, and it's a ton of fun.
Well, because tennis is just like golf, where the dividing line between these players is minuscule. I
Yes.
mean, how many 6'3" guys with 130-mile-an-hour serve are there? A lot, a lot. It turns out there's a ton of guys who can hit it 125, 130 miles an hour. Nobody can return it like Agassi though. I love this. I'm gonna have to look into fan. I rip 20% rise for betting ties. I mean, yes, like seriously, dude, I didn't realize how degenerate I could become. And you mentioned UFC in there, like.
You've bitten in real hard here, haven't you?
I knew it. It's kind of like I knew it existed. I knew it was out there.
Thank
I
you,
didn't think
Blaine.
I'd be.
Thank you.
I didn't think I would be that fascinating or fascinated by it. But it's the analytics or the trying to actually predict. I don't get that much of a high from it. I don't think I do want to dabble in the tennis, but the golf is much more interesting to me because, like you said, it's you're picking 6 players to hopefully make the cut, and then you're in the money.
Yes.
I mean, a straight
Yeah,
up,
pretty much.
yeah, a straight up win in golf DFS, like finishing first in one of those leagues, you got to be an MIT person running models and
Yeah.
having 150 lineups. That's fine. That's
Or
why
you
I
just
like.
got to get lucky like I did with the Masters and have a 200 player contest, so it's a small field and just happen to, like I say, get lucky to win 1,700.
Yeah, any Joe shit the rag man out there, you're their muse, shall I say?
Yeah. Look, I got a high just for. Did you see the guy who had the 15 leg parlay in the NFL this week? $10
No,
bet to win $73,000, and it came down to last night's game. He got them all right. Came down to last night's game. Before the game, he had a cash out value of I think it was like just under $24,000, and he said, "No, I'm gonna let it ride. I'm going for this." And he lost. He had the Rams.
I can't do it. Like that here. This is perfectly why like I can't handle that. Like hearing that story made me want to take this needle and stick it in my eye.
You know how
I'm sitting at a
fast I would
desk.
have cashed out having 14 out of 15 right for $23,000. I would have cashed out so fast for that.
You
Because yes,
say that.
74,000. No, 74,000 would have been nice. And yes, it was only a $10 bet, so would I be fine losing the $10? Correct. But I would have just sat through the entire Sunday sweating my ass off watching those games and riding that high. I need that $23,000.
The betters are going to at me on this one, but let me put it to you a different way. I'm holding $20,000 in my hand,
Yep.
and behind me is $75,000, and I got a quarter. And I say, "You want to do a game of heads and tails for the 75? Or you just want to take this 25?"
I
You're
take the
saying to
25.
yourself, you're saying that,
25.
you're saying that, but the choice is not in front of you now. You're saying that knowing what happened. Like if this guy would have gotten the ten
No,
dollar
I was
parlay
I
and
was
it
saying that
hits for
last night
seventy
before
four
I was
grand,
saying that
we're not
last
having this
night.
conversation because the heartbreak is what gets our.
No, I was you can ask Morgan, my girlfriend. I was saying it before the game last night. I said I'm cashing out at $23,000. Like there is no chance I'm letting it ride just for another 50 grand. Yes, another 50 grand obviously is a massive uptick, but I'm taking that $23,000 if I can because I already know the fact that I picked 14 games right is an absolute shot in the dark, blind squirrel finding a nut. It looks like we lost Bud here on the internet. Like I said, he is traveling down to Florida, so maybe they are still recovering a little bit from Hurricane Ian down there. But like I said, go to Mala Brothers. Purple shirts are going to be up. and that's gonna be fantastic. And look, let's get to an earlier comment, Charlie. I hope you're still listening. I didn't mean to ignore your comment. We just weren't really talking about something that was centered around this. And if you watch the show, Bud can get on a roll. So I never like to interrupt that. It looks like we have Bud back on his phone, judging from the camera angle. But I did want to get to Charlie's comment here because this came very early on in the show. So Charlie, I hope you're still watching. But his question is, what's your favorite course you guys have ever played? And this is pretty simple to me because I haven't played a ton of, I should say, like special courses. I play a lot of local munis, a lot of just local courses here in New England. And I'm nothing that's gonna, tickle your fancy for the most part or get you going. But this one time out in down in Jamaica, on my practice honeymoon, was I got to play a course on that. I think it was called the Plantation Course. I think that's what it was called. I forget. I could be wrong, but I think it was called the Plantation Course. It was in Montego Bay. This course was the most beautiful. Obviously, the entire course is overlooking the oceans right there on the coast. They give you a caddy. I rented clubs. The caddy's just riding along in the back of the car with us the entire time. And it was just what are those called? The Caribbean bananas?
Plantains. Caribbean
plantains.
I love it.
Plantains, yes, plantains. So there was like plantains all over the course, just dropping off the trees. Like you could just grab one and eat it if you wanted. It was windy as fuck. I can tell you that right now. I couldn't hit a straight shot, and it wasn't because my swing was bad. It had to be 40-mile-an-hour winds because look, we're in the middle of the ocean on an island, and we were up at like one of the highest elevation points. So it was windy for sure, but beautiful. It was a ton of fun. It was just one of those rounds that when you got out there, you just kind of expected you're out there for the view. You're out there for just the joy of golf. You're on vacation. And I really didn't give a crap what I shot. I just enjoyed myself. It was one of the more pure golf experiences of my life. And now we got look, this will be fun. This will be fun. We got Bud in double time.
This is what happens, though, when you have to do a show on the road.
I don't know. I've had smoother shows on the road, so I don't know what your excuse is.
You want to go on with your plantains and pars conversation?
Like Caribbean bananas. What is your favorite course you've ever played?
I don't know, but Caribbean bananas sounds like a porn that I don't want to watch. Fans of the show know that I'm a huge homer for TPC Sawgrass, but I would say, that's just kind of classic. But my favorite course is much more recently. Oh, well, shit, I'm actually wearing it. It's the Pete Dye course, same designer, but the Pete Dye course out of French Lick, Indiana. It was, and I talked about it when I got back. It's built the closest thing they have to mountains out that part of the world, southern Indiana, northern Kentucky, that kind of region.
The closest thing they have to mountains in Indiana is the Walmart roof.
Wow, throwing some fucking shade at Indiana. So the French Lick Pete Dye course. It was one of his last courses that he did. Him and Alice, his wife, they world-class designers, and it was one of the final ones he did. He originally said no. The folks who wanted to build it said, we got this spot. It's idyllic. It's scenic. It is up on some hills, we would call them. And he went up there and he said, no can do. Sorry, like it's not. There's nowhere to put a golf course out here. He went home, started doodling on some napkins because that's the Pete Dye way. And if you don't believe me, look it up. That's like where he would start all of his stuff. And the napkin that he designed, the 18 holes that are out at French Lick, is still up in the clubhouse. It's pretty cool. But for me, the course was it was quintessential Pete Dye in the sense that it had something that other courses don't, the volcano bunkers. This MFer literally put bunkers on top of those hills that line the fairways, on top of the bunkers around the greens and everything. The fairways are super narrow. And it's a long course. It's 8,100 from the tips. The closest that the caddy told us anybody's done to the course record from back there is 71, 1 under, and that was a tour pro who was just coming through. And again, being out in the middle of BFE, Indiana, once you're up high enough in the morning, there's fog in the clouds, so you're literally playing golf up in the clouds, and there's nothing around. You're not in the middle of a subdivision. You're not in the middle of anything. So the Pete Dye course out of French Lick is probably my favorite. TPC Sawgrass favorite that I played. TPC Sawgrass I've played a bunch, and it is just my favorite of all time. But it's in like a different category. That's like saying, who's your favorite golfer? Tiger Woods. All right, after that, and that's for me. I'm speaking for personal. So, but a close runner-up would be the precursor to TPC Sawgrass, which was Sawgrass Country Club. It's just down the street from TPC Sawgrass, and that's where the Players Championship was played for the couple years before they built TPC, the stadium course. The Players Championship, the tournament, predates TPC Sawgrass. Jack Nicklaus actually won it a couple times before it went to its new home, and that's kind of the joke where he was one of the first winners, won it a couple times, but never won it at its classic site. So Chuck, thanks for the question. Nice trip down memory lane. And yeah, sorry about that. The internet down here in Tallahassee, Florida is a little spotty.
So you said it earlier in the show. I'd never heard Tallahassee, and I absolutely love it. I love that nickname.
I'm sure there's Tallahassee, Tallatrashy, the Redneck Riviera. The Redneck Riviera actually is the whole Big Bend all the way over to Floribama. Basically, let's put it this way. If it was spared by Hurricane Ian this week, it's part of the Redneck Riviera. Shouts to everybody down in South Florida who, seriously, dude, sure. I've been, being a Florida kid and having been through some of the hurricanes, I wasn't around. I was not there for Andrew where it got hit. I was part of Hurricane Hugo in South Carolina, and that was scary. Nothing touches, even Hurricane Michael right down the street from where my parents are here. Again, the Redneck Riviera. Nothing touches this. So if you got friends, family, whatever you can do, whether it's thoughts, prayers, donations, whatnot, if you think it'll help, it'll help. But especially because speaking of golf, I mean, thoughts and prayers to all the golf courses that just took a beating down there. I know it's very low on the level of priority when you're talking about people's homes and lives. But this is a golf show, damn it. I'm trying to pivot back to the positive.
we you know what? Surprisingly, we've talked a decent amount about golf tonight, considering this was a full kind of pivot episode.
But I said it this morning as I was leaving Publix with my ultimate sub. There's a lot of golf going on, Matt. The PGA Tour is in its fall swing. The President's Cup just wrapped up. That was monumentally fun. If you didn't know, turn on Golf Channel or look on it. Zach Johnson and Luke Donald are already over in Rome doing photo shoots and promos for the Ryder Cup, which once again signals to me that, like you said, Jay Moynihan and team have no plans on slowing down. That international,
they're going for it.
And RIP to the folks that won't be back on tour. Those pro golfers that sign these contracts, they're getting paid handsomely. They will, and I do think that they will find other avenues. And I don't think this is no forever. I think what it might be is, you're welcome to come back. You just got to earn your way back on tour, which they're capable of doing, right? Like,
of course they are.
I think about my old high school teammate. He was in middle school. God, he was so good. Hudson. He's over Hudson Swafford. He's over in Bangkok right now. He's playing the tournament, and the little back and forth we had. He's just out there to play golf. That's what I want to do. I want to play golf and do this thing.
I will say, taller than I expected in person when we saw him out in Boston. Bolton, I mean.
Big boy.
Which was funny because I remember you were laughing at me. We were walking around and I was like, "Oh, he's shorter than I thought." But then Hudson, I was like, "Oh, he's taller than I thought he was."
Joaquin Neiman could double as an elf in the Christmas play.
Him and Carlos Ortiz.
And
two of them.
James Pyatt. James Pyatt or Piot or whatever.
Yeah, but he's still like a teenager. Like.
That's true.
This is he hasn't finished his growth spurt.
But those guys who are out there, I mean, I even think of a guy like Hudson, where if he was told, sure, but you have to go to Q school or go earn your way like anybody else, Monday qualify, winter. Sure. They have the chops to do it, and I think they could. I'm not saying it's automatic because
there'd be no problem.
How much of it is up here?
Well, that's fair enough, but they have the tools to kick ass if they can put it like.
That was going to be my follow-up, which is because so much of it is up there and the guys have already been there, done that. That's a huge. You make a triple bogey on the first hole, and it's like I've won 3 times on the PGA Tour. I know I can go make 6 birdies and make this up.
A lot of those guys in Q school and those money qualifiers, that gets them because they were going into that first hole already with the pressure of their dream being on the line, and that's a lot to deal with. Weren't you coming into this show? Weren't you coming into this show tonight? Of course, with the pressure of the dreams of your life on the line. Of course, and I'm only going to say this because I can see right now that we have nobody watching at this exact moment because I had no clue what we were going to talk about tonight. I was a little nervous. Let's be honest. It's all about content. It is all about content. No, but they're gonna. Here's the thing: won't tune in to live this week. This is gonna be the first time I'm not going to tune into it because they're in Bangkok. They're 13 hours ahead. But what you said earlier. Brings it full circle for me in what I was getting at with my dinner party earlier, saying, do I believe in the tour? And I said, I don't, believe and not believe is irrelevant. It's an exhibition tour, yada, yada, yada. And at the end of it, she's like, you're right. It's not going to take down the PGA Tour, but it's not going to last. And I go,
might last. I was like, the money aside, we forget there's a massive market outside of America. There's a huge market for golf in Asia, specifically Southeast Asia, where like look up the WAC, WAAC, I want to say, and it's a clothing brand. It's one of the biggest in Korea. Kevin Na reps it all the time, and it's
Oh,
pretty
yes,
popular
yes.
on the women's tour. It's massive. There's a huge market over there, and you know what? I wouldn't be shocked if all of a sudden, if things start to fall in line. Come on down, Patrick Reed. You're the next superstar of the Asian tour. Come on down, Carlos Ortiz, because they'll be forced over there.
Yeah.
And that's how that tour is going to grow. Something that bugs me, and this has been slicing me since the last time we've done a fucking what's slicing bud.
Hold on. We can put. You know what? It's not on here anymore.
Are we gonna resurrect?
No, you know what? I had to clear a room. It's not on here anymore. I'm sorry.
Well, it was the least
I needed to make a new one anyways that included sounds and video anyways, so.
I agree. And maybe use my that's a great clip for
we'll
my
retire
Sergio
that
clip.
off of the intro and we'll move it into there.
We'll talk about it. We'll get the interns on it after the show. But the guys who are in Dan Ross, I wrote it right off the FM rails because we went into what's slicing me. This has been bugging me for a long time. Something actually has been bugging me, and it came to a head this week. And I don't know, I'll come back. Such is life. Speaking of bugging me, what's going to happen with the Pats this week? Is Bailey Zappi? Or
here's the thing. Here's the thing, but over the last 30 or 40 seconds, so I apologize anyone listening, your audio has been awful. You sound like you're underwater, so I do apologize. But look, I did hear you say what's happening with the Pats this week, and yes, here's what's interesting. Bailey Zappi, let's see if this works better here. Let's pull a pivot right here. Bud now on his phone, that might be better. I don't know what was going on. It just kind of cut out there on you, like it got weird. But anyways, Bailey Zappi is obviously forced into the star role now for the Pats, and they're going up against Detroit. Detroit's coming to town, and that is interesting because Detroit has been scoring on average 35 points a game, but they're also giving up on average 35 points a game. And they managed to lose last week, scoring 45 points. They lost, I think it was 48-45 was the final score. So this is a game that the Patriots should win, but the fact that Bailey Zappi is now the quarterback, it's going to be a good game. We'll see. But I think even with Bailey Zappi, this is a game that they should win because I think their defense has been playing good enough. And the Lions are pretty banged up right now. We'll see if Swift plays. We'll see if Amon-Ra St. Brown plays. Like, there's a lot of question marks. We'll see if DJ Chark plays. They might not have I say that they didn't have any of these guys this past week, and they still scored 45 points. So we shall see. But
speaking of this, if you're the Detroit offense, are you avoiding the defense in the team facility this week? Like, do you want to see anybody from that defense walking around? Or do you want to see them out on the field just basically working 24 hours a day the entire week?
I'm avoiding them because I'm pissed off because the Lions offense hasn't been this good in a long time. And they're still I think they're 1-3 is their record. They're still 1-3. So I would be pissed off that one, I'm Jared Goff and I'm looking as good as I've looked since I've been to the Super Bowl. Two, you got young talent and DeAndre Swift and Amon-Ra St. Brown. They have all the pieces and they still, because they are the Detroit Lions, they still can't put it together. And you have to wonder how good this defense would be if Matt Patricia in his 1 year there didn't run Darius Slay out of that team. Because if they still had Darius Slay, it could be the difference on this team to where maybe they're 1-3 now, maybe they're 3-1 instead. It could have been.
Matt, you're
Matt Patricia sucks.
I love it. But I also don't have the football expertise that you. Speaking of football expertise, Tom and Giselle, I think it's true. I don't think these are rumors anymore. I think there's too many.
Yeah, there's something going on.
Well, sources, and don't we love sources? Doesn't everybody?
We're sources.
We are. Well, sources have been telling sources. No, I read articles that they've both retained divorce attorneys. The conversation already started about separating assets. Like they're going to co-parent.
Good luck, Tom.
Huh?
Say good luck, Tom. Giselle was the breadwinner, and that even when she wasn't having a career because she was raising their kids, she still made more money off of her royalties than he did because he took less money for the Patriots, which I thank him for because I think that was a big part of winning all those Super Bowls. But
Yeah,
he's fucked. He's fucked.
He's got about 250, 300 million in the last couple of years from Under Armour and
sure.
Martin and all those other deals. So that's the part where, I mean, we forget. Yeah, I mean, he wasn't the breadwinner each year.
Yeah, he's still making a lot of money.
Yeah, exactly. Which, I mean, it's funny. I was talking to my dad, and I was like, what'd you hear about? She's like, oh, I thought he was a good guy. I thought he was a stand-up guy. And I was like, well, it wasn't infidelity. That's not why. Apparently, that's not why Giselle. It's ending. It's not infidelity.
No.
Oh, good. I go. That's why it ended the first time. Like,
yeah, no, it's because she's pissed at putting herself on the back burner all these years and having to do it again. And look, if you watch Tom on the field, he looks miserable. He is not having fun anymore. Look, nope. I'm to the point now where it wouldn't shock me if he just retired mid-season as a last-ditch effort to save the marriage because he's not having fun out there. He looks so upset and mad all the time. My
roommate says it best. It's all been downhill since he left New England. And I'm like, well, he did win that Super Bowl. And she kind of shrugged her shoulders. She goes, the Baltimore Ravens won a Super Bowl. And I was like,
with Trent Dilfer. Trent Dilfer. Yeah, no, and his face says it all. The fact that his face has lost 30 pounds alone. The man is not happy and the man is not well right now. So my thoughts and prayers go out to Tom Brady that he can figure this out, but it's not well right now. And then for him, for his team.
At what point do we get to start saying it was more Bill than Brady?
Oh, I think that's already passed. I think it's clear that it was more Brady than Bill. I think that's been clear. I think that's clear now.
Okay.
The fact that he's still playing right now and the fact that the only reason why he's not playing as well is because he's mentally distracted, it's not physical, I think already proves Bill wrong. And the fact that he went out and won a Super Bowl and played as well as he did.
Hold on. You just proved my point. He leaves the Patriots, now his head is all out because he doesn't have anybody. He doesn't have the chaperone. He doesn't have the coach. He doesn't have the fucking person.
But it wasn't until this year. He won the Super Bowl before before his mental has gone this year.
Trent Dilfer won a Super Bowl. What else you got?
But when it comes to between Bill and Brady, that's all he needed to separate himself from Bill in this specific instance.
There's too many other variables you can't control for all of them. Actually, it's a loser's argument because
fair enough. Probably right.
They were a team. They were the best complement to the other. Bill Belichick ran a team and an offensive organization that required a robot. And Tom Brady is a robot, but if he doesn't have somebody cracking the whip on him, things start to go awry. That coupled with marital problems. Here's the thing about the Giselle.
That's a very good point. They needed each other. That's the short answer.
And this is what I'm gonna say and walk off on it, and then hand it back over to you to take us home. Every pro athlete, every human has problems. We've got marital problems. We got kids. We got personal this. This is their job. When they go to work, this is now, yes, there are extremes in life where we take not pity, but we give some leeway to our coworkers, deaths in a family, births of a child, whatever. But I'm having trouble at home. Okay. Sounds to me like you don't have to around you to help you get it back inside. So yeah, they did. I like tossing that out there because without one, you don't get the other, and history will never be able to separate the two.
For sure.
Back to you in the studio.
Nope, you're 100% right. They needed each other, and they were, they were the Patriots because of both of their contributions. That's the word I'm thinking of, contributions. Look, yes, you're kicking it back to me because it is that time. It is we've hit our time, our soft time max here for the show this week. But as always, we will be back next Tuesday, like we are every Tuesday, here on YouTube, here on Twitter for the Divots and Pivots show. Also on BellyUp.tv. News coming out with that is that we will have our own Belly Up app coming out live that you can download directly to Roku to Fire Stick, to Apple TV. You can download it and find all of our shows and every show that is on the Belly Up Network on demand anytime you want. So you can binge us anytime you want as well. So we will see you next week, as always, for another episode of Divots and Pivots. Have a good night, all.